Hi everyone, I'm Sandie La Nae. Welcome to Psychic Creations. We have a fun show for you today. As you know, I'm an author of several books, and I like to feature authors on Psychic Creations so you, the viewers, can meet those who write wonderful books full of interesting Western history, such as does our guest speaker for today's Psychic Creations program. Now, he is a Nevada author, but he also has many other awesome careers, which we will be talking about throughout the show. Please welcome Ron Bell.
Hi there, everyone. Glad to be here. It's a great opportunity to have some fun.
You bet.
Thank you, Sandy.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's an honor to have you with us. All right. Now, before we get into your books and with your other job opportunities and career choices that you have, I'd like to ask you a few questions so our viewers can get up close and personal with you.
Super.
If that's okay with you.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. Now, do you originate from Nevada?
No, I don't. I was born in Pennsylvania and then moved to California early in my teens. Lived there for a long time. Then I've traveled around the country working in oil fields and different things and around the world quite a bit. So, yeah, we moved to Nevada kind of after we retired. My wife retired from school district over there in Manteca area. Came over here, and we've been here about 10 years.
Oh, do you like Nevada?
Oh man, I love it. It's a hot ticket. We have, where else can you just go outside your door, strap a horse on, and go for a ride or ATV or whatever,
Well, that's very true. And here, I thought you lived in Carson City, but you live in a vast amount of open space.
Yeah, we're about 3 languages out. Yeah.
Well, that's all right. That's okay. Well, let's see. How did you become interested in writing?
That's the craziest thing that ever happened. I joined the Pony Express, and that kind of got it really cemented. But early on, I wrote an article for a couple articles for the National Bow Hunters when my son started to pick up and want to start shooting archery. I shot as a kid. I shot with Andy Devine and some of us up in Griffith Park. A great time up there. Shot a lot of competition at that time. Got out of it. Then my son comes along and he said, "Pop, I want to get into an archery." So we go down and get him a bow, get set up, and that's about it.
Wow, and that got you interested in writing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be darned.
That's the first deal. And then I came back here, and first year I rode with the Pony Express, they asked for trail reports. So I was writing for Nancy Hogarth at the time, and she says, "Well, Ron, why don't you write something, can you write something and put it out?" So I wrote the silly story about, which is in the prologue of the book, Pony Express Rider, by Ron Bell. And the funny thing is that we started this thing, and I knew Larry from being a commissioner and stuff. So Larry has me help him, where the silhouette is for the coming by the V&T Railroad up on the hill. That blew down. So Larry calls me up. He said, "Bell, you weld, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." So a crew of us got together, went out there. Arthur Johnson brought his heavy equipment. I started welding, and we put the thing back up. In the conversation, Larry says, "Do you ride?" I said, "I used to rope a little bit when I was in my 30s and rode horses as a kid and done a bunch of stuff." And, "Oh, okay." Well, 3 days later, Larry calls me and he said, "Hey, you're riding 5 miles out by Sand Mountain." I said, "Man, I don't have a horse. I don't have a saddle. I don't have nothing. Got a pair of boots and a hat, and that's about it." So what I did was I wrote that first story on the Pony Express and I wrote my first poem a little after that, which was Hoofbeat Sounding. But I wrote that was the experiences of what happened of getting involved with the Pony Express, Larry McPherson. That then, one of my friends read that. She says, "You need to write a book on that." So that's how I got started.
Well, what an inspiration. Goodness sakes.
Worst English person in God's world. But got good editors. My
Yeah.
wife does a great job.
Yeah. Good editors. Yes, we all need those. Oh, how fun. Let's see. Well, can you tell us, our viewers, about the content of the book and characters?
I'll tell you what, this is really interesting. I'll go back a step. Ronnie Campbell's series is the deal, the Pony Express rider. Ronnie Campbell, I'm a Campbell clan, and out of Scotland. So we moved into New York State, into Pennsylvania. So what I did is I had to be able to get the Campbell clan. I decided, you know what? What if I was orphaned in the Ruby Mountains? Pony Express rider, looking for young, wiry fellers, kind of like me. Well, maybe years ago, but not now. So anyway, what we did is I took that premise, and I decided I would go ahead and start that book that way. Well, the book starts out as my dad kicking me out of the bed. Telling me, get out of the bed. You left the rail down on the horses. The horses got out. Our team is gone. I don't know how far they're gone. Grab some bread, get your jacket, get a slice of meat off there, go track them horses and get them back. So Ronnie Campbell tracks the horses, takes a shortcut, gets in, finds the horses back in a little canyon where they'd worked and pulled some logs out earlier. And he finds the gold they've been looking for. So as he's getting on his horse, he looks down and he sees a piece of gold. He gets back off, and he's so small, big workhorse, he can't get up on a 18-hand, 19-hand horse. So he has to use a rock. So he's standing on this rock, finds the gold, puts it in his pocket, finds another piece. He's getting ready to head home, and as he heads home, he starts back up over the trail, leading Bill, riding Bill, and leading Sally, the two horses. And he gets up there and he sees smoke. Oh my God. So he hurries along, and he gets to the edge of the tree line and he halts, and the cabin's burnt. His dad's laying on the ground, and his dad always told him, he said, look, he said, if you can't do anything, then just stay where you are, make sure you get safe. So he waited and then found his dad dead. His mother had died earlier, just before Christmas that year, of influenza. So now we have a 14-year-old kid, 2.5-day ride back in the Ruby Mountains from the nearest trading post, and that's where the story starts.
How interesting. Wow. Where did you get that? That just came to you, huh?
You know, it's really funny. I had no predisposition as to where this book was going to start. You know, I've heard some people do storyboards. I've heard them do other things. I find that my characters ride into the story, and it's crazy. I mean, I've had different things. How do you write this? How do you get your characters? I have no idea what characters are going to show up. And as I write the story, the characters come in and they find their way into the story. The big joke is, this book has been published. My next book I'm working on, which is Ruby Gold. He found the gold, and this kid also rode for the Pony Express. He got married. He met the funniest line in this book here. I think it's really funny. Ronnie Campbell comes across for the Paiute War was going on. That started in May 9th in 1860. So this kid is bringing horses across. The Paiute War is going on. He gets into Buckland Station, dodging Indians all the way, and makes it in there. And he finally gets the horses in the corral, gets them safe. He's taking them on in the next day on into Boulevard Robertson, who run the Pony Express here. So he's getting that. He goes in, and there's a restaurant at Buckland Station at the crossing. So he's in there trying to get something to eat. Everybody's in there clamoring around. And finally this young girl walks up and she said, "Get out of this guy's face. Move out of here. Let him eat. Let this man eat in peace." And he looks up and he says, "Oh my God, she called me a man."
Oh.
So that's part of it. But
Oh, sure.
so anyway, we got that. And the funny thing is, like, your characters. How do your characters come? They ride in. the last book I'm working on, the second book, I ended up with a problem. I didn't know it until I got back rereading it. I wrote myself in a corner. Had no idea where it was going.
Oh.
I read the book 3 times. I had 12, 13 chapters done. It was dead. Going nowhere. I'm on a sales call heading to New Mexico, then to Texas, and on to Iowa to do corn studies for a company I'm working for. Just outside of Tucson, Arizona, I'm running 80 mile an hour down Highway 10. And it's kind of like thump. And I look over my right hand side and there's a guy sitting there, fictitious guy, but there's somebody sitting there. I'm Spike Martin. I came to finish your book. And with that innovation on Spike Martin, I rewrote him. I wrote him back into the story a little bit. Come on, now the story's I've got 3 more chapters written since then. Crazy stuff.
I love it. How fun.
I don't know how you do it, but that's kind of how I do it.
Oh, I'm just there. That's all I can say, I'm just there. How fun. Oh my gosh, love the inspirations, love the stories and how they just unfold.
Oh, it's crazy. You know, one of the things that, if you want to carry on a little bit more of this,
sure.
One of the interesting things is that we have a young couple that just got married, and Ronnie Campbell, who is the star of the book and the hero, and they're going, one of his men and their wife and a crew are heading over to pick up mining equipment in Sacramento. So this young couple, they get married and they're going over there. Well, on the way back, they stop at the family rancho there out of Sacramento, pick up fruit trees and different things that they're going to try to grow over here, and then fill a wagon with sawdust and bring some water and all this stuff. They got the team and the wagon and 2 horses. Well, one of them drives the wagon, the other one's out riding. Well, Maggie is out riding ahead, and she's just out probably down just before she hits the mountains and coming over the pass, the Sierras. And she rides into a tree, she hears something, and there was two guys had this woman there, and she was, come to find out, she was a slave at one time, and her husband, well, they had her companion that they traveled across country with. These guys was fixing to rape her and kill her. And so Maggie rides in, sees this, goes back, gets Tony. They park the horses and jump on the other, ride in, take care of business. And how does that story, when I'm writing about Maggie riding forward, does this new set of characters come in?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, it's just the way it happens. I don't know how it happens. They just ride in and you put them on the paper.
Well, I guess that's just what you need to do.
Pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Well, how long did it take you to write Pony Express Rider here?
The writing wasn't necessary. The rough draft.
Mm-hmm.
The rough draft took me probably, I would say, less than 8 weeks to write.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere in that range.
Uh-huh.
Then the funny thing was that I took the rough draft and I took it to 2 ladies. And this was really, one of them was kind of a pretty lace curtain lady, and another lady had a different perspective. So I wanted 2 different perspectives.
Okay.
So one of the lady, she told me, she says, "Boy, I love that book, but I really think your women are very forward." Well, you know, I looked at that and I kind of thought, well, do I need to change that? And I got thinking, if you was living in the 1860s, out in the middle of nowhere, and your husband is dead, or you meet somebody, you don't have months or years to forge a relationship.
Good point.
These women had to make a decision because they either, in the old days, basically, they was either a prostitute or somebody's wife.
Okay, sure.
That was pretty much what the norm was for people in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that when I wrote these things, these people had to foster these relationships fairly fast. Mm-hmm. And they did.
They did. Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of got a kick out of that. And then the other comment, this one lady says, "Who in the hell's the Indian?" Well, I I had an Indian who was happening, of course, you know, Ronnie Campbell's dad got killed by the Indians. Okay, so they're riding a high country with some cattle, and here's a dead horse, and its throat was cut. So they knew that the Indian, or whoever was riding it, was alive. So they found this Indian back in there, had a broken leg. So they took the knife away from the guy until they become better friends. It took a while. And so they did that, and then we got him a horse and got him some meat, got him some stuff. So then I had to take this guy is going to live. He's got a horse now. And then I took the perspective of, okay, why are these guys giving me a horse and food and turning me loose? They must be going to follow me to my village and kill my families. So I took that perspective on there. Then I ended up writing almost 2 chapters in the interrelationship really quick between the Indian, what their thoughts were. And then they came back in. It was, there wasn't all just Indians who wanted to fight the Paiute War. There was Indians who wanted to just live and be left alone and do their thing, raise their family. That was my perception. So that's kind of how I did that. So I wrote them in. They came back and went into the which they called the Mountain of Gold, the yellow mountain, but they preferred, which is gold. So they went back and watched the cattle operation.
Okay.
And tried to figure out what the heck these guys was doing. You know, totally different. So when the Paiute War got started, these guys separated from the Paiute War, took their families and went to another location. And then the Paiute went and had their big war, and they you know, had their different things. But these guys decided that, you know, I'm going to take my family, go do something else. I'm going to hunt, fish, and survive.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's just some of the stuff.
Oh, nice! Wow. Wow, that's just wonderful. And this is an interesting story, people. I have read this book, and it's very, very interesting on different facets. Western history, Pony Express, how people lived and survived. I do understand about the fast relationships with these people. They did not have time to court each other for months and years. They had business to attend to and lives to live. And so I understand that about the relationships. And then just about the Pony Express, the areas that you had to cover, Ronnie Campbell had to cover. It is incredible the amount of territory that you have written about in here. It's it's great. Well, now the Ruby Gold book.
Yes.
Okay, does that pick up where this takes off, or is it a different story?
No, it's a continuation. It's a 3-book series.
Oh.
So that's why I say the Ronnie Campbell series. Just to go back on this book dates, times, places, location, people. A lot of the characters in this book are exactly who they were. We have station masters who run the stations. We have Bolivar Roberts, who was the head of the Pony Express. We have Pony Bob Haslam. We have a bunch of these different things, and you know, it's just a real matrix. Now, what I did was that the Pony Express shut down. Ronnie Campbell, due to the gold and his ingenuity, had started a cattle ranch. So he had a cattle ranch. He found the gold. He always used the gold that he found for leverage. So the new book, Ruby Gold, is what we're doing is they're bringing the gold mining equipment back from Sacramento back to the Rubies to start doing mining. And they have Sean O'Reilly, who has been a coal miner and a miner in Europe, and he is the dad of Maggie, who married Tony, which is it's all interconnected between the story. Now, what we do with these is that we move it forward. They are now, after this thing, after they're collecting this up, they're getting the equipment, they're expanding the ranch, they're doing things. Part of the family went back to save the rancho in California. So we have 2 families, one in Nevada, one over there, and they're interchanging stock and different things between the 2. This book carries on. And of course now the wives, they're going to be having some babies, and they're going to be coming along, and and the story will carry on. In fact, Ronnie Campbell took some of his horses and went over to Salt Lake City, Utah,
Oh.
and raced them and had a bunch of stuff. And I mean, it carries a lot of
Oh.
ground, but the time, place, and all that stuff is pretty spot on. Now, what we get into Ruby Gold now, Ruby Gold is, I don't quite know where it's going to go yet, but we've got the mining equipment back to the ranch. We've got everybody's back there. It's getting organized. The mining operation will get started. I'm sure that Ronnie Campbell's going to start another venture, something else. So we'll write this book out with the history of the men and women who are in this, which started at the first book. Then what'll happen is I'm going to do a 10 or 15 year jump on the third
sure,
book.
yeah.
So I'll pick up where the kids are in their teens, where they're just starting to come into their own, and start taking over stuff, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Oh, how exciting. I can't wait to read the other two books.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, back with this one here, just real quick, can you tell our viewers where they can purchase this book?
Yeah, if you go to Amazon.com, just look for Ronnie Campbell series, The Pony Express Rider by Ron Bell, and you can find that. If you look on Facebook, I'm easily found. I'm the only Ron Bell with a red shirt and a horse. And that horse is Dandy. He has his own Facebook page almost. Everybody knows Dandy.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
but that's easily got. You can get it at a few stores. Nevada Day store and trading post in Carson City has it. There's a number of other locations around, and you can contact me. But Amazon's really your best opportunity. Just go to Amazon, look it up, buy it from them, and good price, not expensive. So just go enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Oh, and believe me, I've read the book, like I said, and it's a good story. Excellent story. Okay, now, let's see. You're all wonderfully dressed.
Yes.
Now, can you tell our viewers what you do in and for the Pony Express?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, I started. I rode, as I mentioned earlier in the show, with Nancy Hogard out there in Sand Mountain. Since then, I have become a board member of the Nevada division of the National Pony Express Association, and moved up the ladder. Now I'm currently the president of the Nevada division here in Nevada.
Oh, nice.
So we carry on a lot of things. We do a tremendous amount of living history talks and shows. There's nothing like our kids when the fourth graders and fifth, they study Nevada history. Well,
yes.
we'll take the horses out. We'll go out and I'll grab a microphone, or maybe I'll ride. I don't, depending on what needs to be done. Sometimes I'll talk and ride both, but most of the time lately we've got some good riders, and we bring the Mochia to them. We bring the Pony Express to them. How do we do that? We have the kids write letters to the Pony Express. I pick the letters up. Now we do one of two things. I'll either deliver those and stamp them, and then we'll stamp them with a Pony Express stamp.
Oh.
Then we'll write them in and give them back to the class. Other times what we'll do is we'll have two schools that are local. I'll pick the letters up from one school and take them to the other, and then when I do the other show, I'll pick it up and go back and do the other. So we'll do two shows local, one or two. Either way, the kids get the letter, they get it stamped. And I think one of the funniest things, we was doing a show over in Silver Springs at the elementary over there, Silver Stage Elementary. We're out there, and normally I have those pre-stamped. Well, I didn't get them stamped. They didn't get the letters to me in time. So I'm out there stamping, ka-chunk, 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 letter, letter, hand.
Oh!
Oh my, letter, hand, 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 letter, letter, hand, and letter. I mean, them kids went nuts out there. They was running in, getting their hands stamped. I mean, what a hoot. But they learn it, and then we get a lot of letters back from the kids, and they say, you know, thank you for coming out and teaching us stuff that's not in our book.
Oh, well, sure.
So they actually see the motif. They can relate then how the letter gets there. They can, you know, we talk about the distance of the ride, 1,966 miles.
Oh,
That's a long way.
that's a
Well,
long
you know,
way.
did you ride all the way? Well, no, we don't. We ride 1 or 2 miles or 5 miles at a time. Probably 600 riders take it from Sacramento to St. Joe, Missouri, coming back. Each state has their own crew. They handle their own stuff. And it's exciting. We got the mail at Ivapaw at the Utah border this year, 2 o'clock in the morning. Mail was a little bit late. The rider come in, and I swear to God, you couldn't tell where, other than a dust ball. They had been, wind blew on them, the dust was flying, and they rode in. We got the mail, threw it on a horse, took off. 144 miles, 7 mountain ranges is what the Shelbourne riders handle. That crew is amazing. We left out of Ivapaw, followed them out, and they do 2-mile jumps. They'll take a horse ahead and a rider, they'll unload it. You ride in your 2 miles, they'll throw the mochi on, you leave, they put the horse in the other trailer, then they leapfrog again. They keep leapfrogging these horses every 2 miles, that way the horses don't get wore out.
Good point.
Run them up over the mountains. This last year they ended up with a broken transmission. They ended up with a broken axle. At least 10 flat tires. Not just flat tires, folks. I mean tires that are completely shredded.
Wow.
So the dollar value that these guys and gals out there put together, it's tremendous. I mean, the effort that they have to put through to get that 144 miles.
Sure.
2 of the ridges that they have to pass over have wild horse bands. In the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they get challenged by a stallion up on top of this mountain. And these 2 riders, they carry guns
Okay.
just to shoot into ground and to get the horses. They almost had to pull their gun and shoot them. This stallion come at them about 5 or 6 times. Pitch black. All they've got is a little headlight on their hat. And here's this horse come charging out of the dark. Oh yeah, big teeth. So, and most of them haven't brushed their teeth either. So, big deal. I mean, the dedication that these people take, then they come down out of there and they get off at Diamond Springs, come down, and then they go into the flats, hit Grubb's well, then up over, which was one of the most famous stations, which was Dry Creek. That's where a couple of the station handlers got shot by the Indians because they had squaws there at the camp, and the Indians got irritated. One of them was shot through the wall. They took the mud out of the wall at the cabin. And there's a monument there where the station used to be, and then you leave there, and it's really what a hoot of a ride. You head out of there, you ride up this canyon, wind your way up through that, up over the top, and up at the top you can see for miles. And it's just like it was back in 1860.
Oh.
I mean, you can't hardly tell what the difference is. They come down out of there, 2 more mountain ranges are into Austin. Austin on across, they go to Railroad Pass, straight out there, then to Cold Springs. And then from Cold Springs, it's about 32 miles on into Sand Mountain. They pick the mail up, we get it, our crew. We run to Sand Mountain. They go over to Top Gun. That's 32 miles. We set that this year. We rode that really fast. Saved about an hour and a half off the time.
Oh.
But we was way late this year. We lost a lot. Then we pick up at Top Gun, go to Buckland Station. And our crew, we was short riders, so our crew that run Sand Mountain, we leapfrogged ahead and then got on the horses. And then we come into Carson City. It goes from Carson then up over the grade on up to Friday Station at Lake Tahoe, and then we hand it off. But what a ride, man. You're talking about probably 100, let me see, we probably had pretty close to probably 100 riders.
Did you?
Yeah, that took it across Nevada altogether.
Fascinating.
So, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, but what an opportunity. You get you know, there's history. It's in the you know, it's in the libraries. It's in the museums, and then you've got the living history. You know, and we're part of the living history. You know, we go out and we participate and we carry real mail. It's mail that's carried. We carried about 1,100 pieces of mail this year.
Oh, wow.
And starting in about February, we'll be able to get the applications from us to carry that letter. They'll do
Okay.
a $5 fee, and then you $10, I think, if you want to write a personal one. But we'll get you, and then it'll be mailed to you. We'll carry it 1,966 miles by horseback, and it'll be mailed at the other end, which would be either St. Joe or Sacramento, and then you'll get that in your deal. And this year I'll be writing the letter letter that's actually on the inside. So I'm starting to work on that now.
Oh my gosh, isn't that fascinating? Oh, now this is called a rewrite? Is
Yes,
that
that's
correct?
a rewrite.
Okay.
In June,
In June.
mid-June.
Is this an every year ride or?
Yeah, we ride next year we'll be riding from Sacramento to St. Joe.
Okay.
This year we rode from St. Joe to Sacramento.
Oh, that's neat. You go back.
Yeah, we go back and forth. Now, they go a different road. We go up over Kingsbury going west, and we come over down to Wolford's going east. So we keep that
Interesting.
two points of history alive. Each one of those had played a part. When they first started the Pony Express, it went through Wolford's. Then we turned around, and then they started up over Kingsbury Grade to save some time. So we honor that by doing it different route each year.
Isn't that wonderful? That's just, oh my gosh, that's just awesome. How many days does it take?
Well, in 1860, if you believe with them young skinny fellers.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right. That always gets a kick with the kids. They rode it in 10 days.
10
24
days.
hours a day. They don't stop.
They don't stop? Okay.
Now, we still do it in 10 days. We don't stop.
Oh my
We
gosh.
go from rider to rider to rider to rider, and the mail does not stop. 1,966 miles in 10 days.
Isn't that?
Oh, it's
fascinating?
exciting.
Oh, it has to be.
How many, I don't know how many people, that's just a question to the people watching this, have ever thought about riding a horse at night, pitch black, at a gallop, across the desert, carrying 60 pounds of mail?
No. I've never
What?
thought about that.
What a hoot. I mean, tell you,
I
the
can imagine.
the first year I rode Dandy, no horse, you remember.
Okay,
I didn't
right.
have a horse.
Right.
I auditioned 4 horses.
Oh.
And
Okay.
Dandy was the last, and I didn't like any of them. So I got Dandy. Dandy hadn't been ridden in 5 years. So when I saddled up Dandy, of course he says, "What do you think you're doing? I'm not leaving my friends. I have good friends here, and I don't need to go anyplace."
Right.
Well, I took Dandy 5 miles over to my place. The first ride over, I'll do a little visual on this one.
Okay.
Dandy is to the left.
Okay.
Dandy's to the right. Dandy's, I'll tell you, it was 5 miles from my house to where I picked Dandy up. I swear to God, I probably rode 12. This horse did not have any inclination of ever leaving his friends.
Right.
They were close friends, half brother. Yeah, I'm not leaving him.
okay,
He'll be
right.
lonely.
Right.
So that's how I kind of got into that. But it is funny, man. When you get out there and you ride at the middle of the night, I get the mail and the sun's going down the first year,
Okay.
2011. I'm out there and I'm easing out, getting Dandy out, and we hit the trail and I've got him at a good trot. We're going across there, and I mean, it's rocky. The section I take is one of the worst that we have for boulders, rocks, ditches.
Ooh, okay.
It's just up and down through the base of the mountain, going from Sand Mountain across to Simpson Pass. So anyway, Dandy's out there. Well, I can't. It gets darker and it gets darker and it gets darker. My brother was following us in his truck. I said, man, get out of here. I can't see with you're just causing me problems. So he drives on ahead, disappears. Dandy's out there, and we're trotting along, and all of a sudden Dandy says, you know, I said, I'm tired of this trotting stuff. He starts cantering. I can't see the ground. I'm thinking,
Oh, no.
I hope you can see. I mean, but okay, have at it, buddy. Next thing I know, he went from a soft canter to a pretty good gallop. So we're out there just cruising along out through there, and I mean, just hooking it.
Yeah.
So the gal I was riding for, Nancy Hogarth, she figured that I would take at least an hour to get across that 5 miles
Okay.
because it was dark. I had never ridden with her before. 38 or 40, about 42 minutes, I think it was. I come down the hill, around the curve, into the headlights at a full gallop. I mean, we're flying in there. Jerk Dandy up to a stop. She's not ready. She said, "Holy crap! I'm not ready to ride." So we throw the mochila on Dirty Dancer. It was her horse.
Okay.
And we walk him over to bank because she isn't tall enough to get up without a little assistance. He gets over to the bank, gets on it, puts a foot in. Foot comes over the top. I stuff her foot into the stirrup, let go of the bit, and off into the night she rides. Pitch black. You can't. 3 jumps of the horse. You can't see anything.
Oh.
Now that's a hoot.
I can imagine so. Oh, goodness sakes.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. Oh my gosh, the stories that you have, the excitement, and, well, like you were saying, the opportunities to ride with Pony
Oh.
Express. And the stories?
Have you ever heard the deal on how we got hooked up on it's called the slide ride?
No, I've never heard of that, no.
Well, what happened, I think it was in '84, they had we had a big storm, and a whole mountain came down just out of Twin Bridges on Highway 50 going across, and it blocked the road. So the mail couldn't get through. So Pollock Pines, one of the Pony Express riders, was in the mail in there talking about it, and the postmistress said, well, you know, we can't get the mail across because of Dylan. He said, well, hell, Pony Express will take it across. So I think it was 50 cents a day they paid riders to carry the mail from Pollock Pines across the top and pick up and deliver those letters to a mail truck, and then took the mail from there and rode it back across. And they did that for, I mean, I think 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But that's how come we ended up being actually an official U.S. Ability to haul U.S. mail. The only other entities that can handle it, of course, is the U.S. Post Office. Then you have the Coast Guard, and then the Pony Express. So I never knew about the Coast Guard.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but they're certified to be able to carry the mail. So, I mean,
I'll be darned.
you know, we had,
Oh.
when they started back with the Pony Express, how can anything that only lived 16, 18 months, it's 18 months, I guess, it was, anyway, how do we still in this today? Well, I think the Buffalo Bill Wild West show.
Oh,
When the Pony Express shut down, this is my theory only,
okay.
and I'm allowed it.
Yeah, well, sure.
But I really think what happened is when Buffalo Bill took the show to Europe and all over the world, I think it imprinted the Pony Express because it was always involved. And just lately, I've got information that Pony Bob Haslam was a front man for that show. And Bronco Charlie Miller, well, that's another story, was the youngest rider. And I got to do a skit with Kim sometime. This kid was 11 or 12 years old. So here's Bronco Charlie Miller as a young kid. Him and his brother was the 2 meanest little snots there was in New York City. The parents literally took them down and put them in indentured servant to a captain on a sailing ship. So they went across and went around the Horn, came back up, got up to San Francisco. Well, Charlie and his brother jumped ship. Well, Charlie was a little faster. He escaped. Here's a kid, 11 years old, runs out, gets out in the middle of wherever, lands at a ranch someplace, learned to rope and ride and stuff like this as a young kid. Pony Express come along. He was the youngest rider at 11 or 12 years old. He then, after the Pony Express shut down, he was a relief rider more than anything. But I've been telling Kim we need to do this skit is to get somebody playing Bolivar Roberts and then play Warren Upson and then get in there and then have this kid interviewing with Bolivar Roberts, but I'll play the kid. Getting somebody up on the deal like, Mr. Roberts, I want to ride for you. Go away, son. You know, I think you'd make a hoot.
Oh, that would be a fun show.
Well, this guy ends up, he goes with Wild West show after things shut down. Then they didn't hear much from him. World War I came along, and he, at that time, was 67 years old, I think.
Okay.
At 67, he lied and tried to tell everybody he was 40 years old. Well, he couldn't get in the Army with the U.S., so he went to Canada. And he was able to join the Canadian military until they finally figured out how old he was, kicked him out. So then he comes back to the U.S. and he rides his horse selling war bonds around the country, all over. He sold war bonds all during the time. Then he kind of goes back into not doing much. At 80, he straps on a horse, goes to New York City, gets some paperwork, gets some letters from the mayor of New York City, rides to San Francisco, across the country by himself, and delivers them to San Francisco.
Goodness sakes.
That's nuts, isn't it?
Oh, well,
I mean,
okay, wow, I don't know what to say with that.
and he's buried just north of New York City. That's where he lived, and then his grave's up there. But you know, people like that.
Goodness sakes.
My goodness, the Warren Upson. You know, I mean, the stuff with him. The first ride he had this blinding snowstorm. You know, he got in, and he was actually, his dad was. I think he was the publisher of the newspaper in Sacramento. I mean, Pony Bob Haslam came over from Europe. He came from England, come over here specifically to ride the Pony Express.
Be darned. Isn't that interesting? Such dedication those men had. Well, boys. Well, the whole organization.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, to be involved with this thing, and you know, we're looking now. We're going to push a big deal of non-riders. We want riders and we want non-riders. Why should we have an exclusive organization that says that you have to ride a horse, you have to do this to be a member of our organization?
Okay.
We need plenty of things done, just like what you're doing right now, of taking an interview, exposing the deal, just everything out there. We're going to be doing dinners, we're going to be doing campouts, and we got all this stuff. We just finished a camp out, recruited 7 new members on a camp out.
Oh, nice.
So those types of things, we need both. We need to have people who like to organize, do things, and come out and have fun.
Well, I think everybody should join in, volunteer, and have some fun with the Pony Express.
Well, I do too. We got one of the great restaurants up here, Squeezins, up in Reno. They got, I don't know how many stores, 3, I think, three different deals. They're a big sponsor of us. So pretty quick, I'm going to put a deal out on Facebook, is that let's all the Pony Express members who can, let's go have dinner, go up there and have a date night, and take our brides and stuff up there and go to dinner up at Squeezins and just say, hey, we appreciate what you do.
That'll be nice. That will be very nice.
Oh, I think it'd be fun.
You bet.
I like entertainment.
Well, sure you do, because you're entertaining yourself. I'm having a good time with this interview, I'll tell you. Well, okay, let's see, we've got a little bit more time left. Now, you're very intriguing. This man has got awesome careers. Can you go ahead and tell our viewers what you have done, are doing, will be doing?
You know, I've had a great opportunity in my life to have businesses basically shot out from underneath you. I mean, you always have trials and tribulation. I had an oil rig business back in the 80s. I got a joke. I went to Houston to an OTC show back there in '82. Supposed to collect a $127,000 check from a guy. Came home. First call I made on Monday morning was the bank receiver had taken my drawworks that the guy owed me $127,000 and says thanks for the donation. So the first call I made on a Monday morning cost me $127,000. Within 1 week, I lost over $2 million worth of backlog in committed work from Union, Shell, Arco, all the majors on overhauling. So that, you know, you live through that, you have a lot of fun. I've done robotics. I was one of the first guys doing factory automation work with robotics,
Wow.
pick and place, that kind of stuff, designing one-of-a-kind machines. Still do that once in a while.
Oh, interesting.
Built the machines that most of the postal loggers that are built that you see out there, Pengo. I designed the automated equipment that goes with them, and then I just finished last year semi-automated welding system for a steel chainsaw through Pengo.
Oh my gosh.
So we've got to do that. I built skip panel housing. I was teaching sustainable green building after Katrina in New Orleans. I did training classes there. I was in Indonesia after the tsunami. Went over there, did training classes, and taught the Indonesians how to do skip panel stuff. The house I built in Galveston, just out of Galveston, Crystal Beach, Texas, was the only house standing with little damage after Ike went through. There was 4,500 wood frame homes went away, and my house had no damage. So, you know, the stuff I built. But you know what's really crazy is that FEMA wouldn't allow a report published because I didn't have wood pilings on my house.
Oh,
So it's crazy. I mean, but I've been lucky. And then right now, currently, I'm working for a company selling micronutrient ag fertilizer, and it's a space age. It was designed and built.
oh, well, look at that.
This
Nice.
is a BAM FX hat. BAM is bioavailable minerals. FX is Formula X. So what this is, it's unlocking nutrition to the world. What we've found is that John Wayne Kennedy, who used to be one of the head USDA scientists, designed or developed a molecule that does things to plants that you can't believe. It enhances the growth, it enhances the vitamins, minerals, and all of the nutrients. It gives you faster maturity. It's just a miracle piece of deal. And I happen to, how at 72 years old do you get lucky enough to fall into something like this? I'm out doing corn trials. I've got wheat trials going on. The corn trials, we just finished one of the two in Iowa, came out very good. We just got an order for the material. We sell only to commercial farms. We don't sell to the public yet. We are not organic yet, but the only bad actor we have in the stuff is already passed muster on some other things, and it passes a grass test, which is generally regarded safe, all the materials in it. But we're moving across. We're working in Chile right now. We got a Patricio Malarraga in Chile is doing some great work down there. We got that thing going. We're working with the state of Florida. We're working in New Mexico with high alkaline soil, alkaline salt soil, and enabling the plants to grow without iron sclerosis. Just all kinds of different things that's going on. I just really, what an opportunity. I mean,
Sure.
I'm out playing with the big boys and having fun.
Well, that's what life's all about.
Oh, man, what a hoot. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I got to sit here with you.
Well, that's the best thing that you can do.
Well, absolutely.
The best opportunities with me. All right. Well, thank you, Ron, so much for being such an awesome guest on Psychic Creations. Boy, I don't know what to say after all this. This is just awesome.
I had fun.
Well, me too.
Yeah, my wife said I'll talk to a fence post, so.
Oh,
And you're darn sure not a fence post.
Oh,
so
well.
we had a good time.
We've had a good time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and you know, getting the word out for the Pony Express and stuff and all the different things that's going on.
Oh, sure.
What a great time.
It is,
Yep.
it is.
Mhm.
Well, we will make sure that everybody hears all about this.
Well, cool. Well,
Thank you so much. All right. Now, let's see. Can you give our viewers your contact information one more time?
Yeah, my book, you can get them on Amazon.com. Look under Ronnie Campbell, the Pony Express writer. It's Ronnie Campbell's series, actually, and by Ron Bell. I'm easily accessed on Facebook. In fact, if they want to contact me personally, everybody's got my phone number anyway, 775-220-000207. 775-220-0007.
All
Yeah,
right.
if I made a mistake, you got to cut that out.
I'll edit that.
Edit it,
You
whack
bet.
it.
You bet.
But I'm easy, live in Silver Springs, and we're enjoying Nevada here and just love it. And
Well, I'm sure that Nevada is very happy that you and your family are here too.
well, cool.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed today's program because we sure did. All right. Now, if you would like to be a guest on Psychic Creations, like Ron Bell is, please note that the content is metaphysical, spiritual, historical. We have lots of wonderful authors and artisans that have been our special guests. And you can get a hold of me at my website, which is www.psychicstones.com. Or you can get a hold of me at my email address, which is admin@sandypsychicstones.com. Again, thank you so much for being a wonderful special guest on our show today.
Thank you, Sandy. I really appreciate it. This was really fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you, and we'll see you next show.